everyone, welcome to class today. We are going to be doing a full body exercise using a resistance band. I have just a medium level difficulty one, so grab whatever one works for you today. You can also do this workout without resistance bands, but it is kind of designed more with a loop resistance band in mind, just so you know. But let's go ahead and get started. We are going to start standing, start my timer here. We're going to start with the bands at our wrists. So right below your wrist, make sure the band's nice and flat. And we're just going to start with our hands out in front of us, with our palms facing one another. And we're just going to gently, slowly pulse outward, keeping a micro bend in your arms, but mostly straight arms, trying to keep your wrists from bending any funky ways, really trying to keep strong arms here, strong abs. Make sure you're standing up tall and stable. And we're just slowly, with controlled movements, pulsing outward as far as you're able to. And especially on the way back into your starting point, make sure you move very slowly so that the resistance doesn't just snap you back to place, losing all the work there if you do that. So we're just moving slowly, warming up the shoulders. I'm excited for today's workout. It's going to be a burner. Just going to be here for a few more seconds. Soft bend in the knees too. Starting to fire up the body here. Make sure you're breathing. Great job. Now we're going to hold the resistance bands, not so that they're completely stretched out, but so that they are taut, so you don't want any slack in your band. And what we're going to do is just some figure 8 marches. So standing with your ankles right underneath your hips, we're just going to lift one knee to a 90-degree angle as we twist over to that side and then set the foot back down and switch sides. So this is an ab workout, but because we have the resistance bands on our wrists, it's also giving us a little bit of a shoulder burn as well. Even though we're not stretching the resistance band super tight, just that motion, that isometric hold that we have our arms in here is going to work that upper body while we bring this knee up to a 90-degree angle is going to work your lower abdominals. Just taking your arms in a figure 8 motion here, moving with control. If it's a little bit too much on your balance today to bring your knee up to a 90-degree angle, you can also just point your foot out in front of you. That's a great modification. Just a little bit of a spine rotation. Warm up that spine. Keep your resistance band taut. You're still breathing. Great job. Let's do one more just to even out sides here. My shoulders are on fire. Okay, you can bring your arms down for just a moment. We're going to just do that with a single leg now. So we're going to start, you can start with either leg, doesn't matter. I'm going to start with my right. And so I'm just going to twist over to the left a little bit, again, keeping a tight resistance band. And we're just going to drive the knee up one leg at a time as we twist over to that side. Keep a soft bend in your standing leg. And you're going to feel this in your obliques on the side that you're twisting toward. Great job. Make sure you're breathing here. You don't have to go fast to feel this one. Great job. Let's do 3 more. Here's 2 and 1. We'll go right to the other side. No break for those shoulders. I feel like I'm distracted from the ab work because of how much my shoulders are working, keeping this resistance band taut. Great job. Driving the knee up. staying in control of your body here. So we're not just throwing things around. We're moving with intention. Pilates is all about controlled, intentional movements to really get the most out of the work. Great. Let's do 2 more. Whew. Great job. Let's just finish with 10 of those frontal pulses. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh my goodness, great job. Don't worry, we're gonna give our upper body a little bit of a break after that. That was like 5 minutes of work, and I feel like that was a burner for the shoulders. So it doesn't take much time to get a burn with these resistance bands. So what we're gonna do is put our band on our ankles now. So, or I should say right above your ankles. And we're gonna do some squat work here. So you're gonna bring your legs again so that your ankles are right under your knees are right under your hips. So what I want you to watch for as we do this squat is that your knees aren't collapsing inward, which is tempting to do with the resistance band because it's causing more resistance. You want to make sure that your knees are tracking over your ankles and they're not coming forward over your toes, okay? So I'm going to turn to the side here so you can kind of see my form as well. So I'm just going to bring my hands to prayer. You can do whatever you want with your hands and on your hips or forward or whatever you want to do. So we're gonna shoot our booty back as we hinge at the hip and then lower down. And then we just come right back up. And again, keeping those knees nice and wide so they're not coming in or they're not coming too far forward to compensate for the work that the resistance band is adding. Great job. Really nice and slow. Shoot the booty back first and then lower. So we're not just going straight down. I want you to shoot the booty back, hinge at your hips forward a little bit, and then lower. Great job. Now that we got that squat form down, we're going to add a little bit of a lateral leg lift to the side. We'll just alternate sides. So we squat down, we come up, shift over to the left, and we just kick out to the side with our right leg a little bit, keeping a micro bend in that leg. We squat down, we come up, shift over to the right, and lift that left leg. So go at your own pace here. Make sure you're breathing. Move slow. There's no rush in this movement. You're not going to get stronger faster if you do this move any faster. Really shoot energy with the glutes, the hamstrings, that side thigh as we do that lateral leg lift. Make sure you're breathing. Keep your knees nice and open, not collapsing inward. You can take the lateral leg lift out if that's just a little bit too much for you today. Listen to your body and what it's telling you. You want to challenge it, but also respect it, right? Great job. We'll just do 2 more, so 1 on each side. Great. Amazing job. Okay, great job. We're gonna do some single leg work now, so I want you to face the front of your mat, and I'm gonna have my right leg in front here. Resistance band's gonna be in the same spot. We're just gonna do some single leg kicks backward. So we're going to bend this right leg, keeping that knee behind the toes, of course, and just hinge just slightly through your hips. So you're not completely standing up completely straight. I want you to hinge forward a little bit, bend that knee. We're going to take this left leg, straighten it behind us, flex the foot, and we're just going to give a little kick. So we're really not going for a crazy range of motion back there because the resistance band is already tight, right? Like in this position, it's stretching quite a bit, especially if you have a medium difficulty band or especially a heavy level of resistance band. So we don't need to do a huge range of motion. You're going to feel this really through your hamstrings as well as through like that under butt region here. You're also going to feel it in that front quad. Make sure that your neck is nice and long. This is a little bit of a balance challenge too, because the resistance band is pulling on that standing leg as it's kicking back. So if you need to hang on to something, if you have like a counter or your wall or something, that's super helpful for this move. Great job. We'll just do a couple more. Really firing up that lower body. Great job. Let's switch sides. So my left leg is forward now. Slight bend in this left leg, slight hinge in the hips, tall spine. We straighten that back leg, flex the foot, and we just give a little kick. Just a little lift back there. I feel like resistance bands kind of force you to move slower, which I love. I personally am not like a high intensity interval kind of girl, so I love slower movements, and it still provides the most delicious burn. That's why I love Pilates so much. All these controlled movements force you to slow down a little bit. All these muscles are firing. This is hard. You're doing a great job. You are so strong, and you're only getting stronger. I love that. Let's just do 2 more. Whoop, losing my balance a little bit. Helps to focus on a single spot in front of you too when we're doing these balance things. Great job. Let's come to the back of our mat. Resistance bands are in the same spot. We're going to do some squat walks now. We're just going to do a few of them. So we're going to come down into our squat position. So again, we hinge at the hips and shoot the booty back, and then we lower from there, keeping the knees behind the toes. What we're going to do is just walk forward in this squat position. So you really have control over how hard this move is, because, and then we're just going to turn around at the end of our mat. Or if you have a big room, keep on walking. You have control over this move, because if you're up here and you're walking, that'll be a little bit easier. If you want to make it really hard, you can really come into a super deep squat. I just want you to really think about keeping your knees behind your toes. We're just going to do a couple more of these. A little bit of an awkward one, but it really like gets those muscles that we're working in a squat, like it kind of gets them moving in a different plane of motion than they are in a regular squat. Whew, I am out of breath. Anytime I do like standing lower body work, like lunges or squats or things like this, really gets my heart rate up. Great job. All right. Whew. We are done with the standing work. We are going to come down onto the mat, and we're going to put our band aside for just a moment, and we'll come back to it in a second here. We're going to do some core work. So let me situate all my things here. So let's come down onto our back, feet on the mat, knees bent. We're just going to start with some ab prep. So I want you to be in neutral spine. So there is a horizontal plane from your pubic bone out to your hip bones that jut out there. So it's nice and level. You have a little bit of a gap between your mat and your back. And we're just going to do some ab prep here. So energy shooting out through your fingers. Lift your head, lift your shoulders, stop at the breastbone. And we slowly come back down. Really firing through your transversus abdominis. So you're not holding your breath. You're firing through your deep, deep abdominals here. And we just hold it for a second right at the top and rest back down. Make sure you're breathing here. You're still in neutral spine, still maintaining that gap between your back and the mat. Great job. We're about halfway through class. Amazing job. Our abdominals are already fired up through all the work that we did in the beginning. So we're showing them a little bit of extra work right now, a little bit of extra loving for our core, those beautiful stomachs. Great job. Next time we get up here, we're going to stay up here, and I want you to place your hands behind your head. You're not going to change the position of your neck, so this doesn't mean that your chin is going to be glued to your chest. I still want you to have about a fist width between your chin and your chest to keep your cervical spine, your upper spine safe. So hands behind the head, and then I want you to take your right hand and send it diagonal across your body toward the opposite thigh, and we're just going to reach over to the side and then come back into that beginning position where your head is still up off the ground, your abs are still engaged. We're just reaching a little bit farther with our hand, reaching across the diagonal, reaching, maintaining neutral spine, maintaining the gap between your mat and your back. Great job. You're still breathing. Your cervical spine is still safe because you still have that proper distance between chin and chest. Great job. If you need to take a break, take it. This is difficult. If your core is saying, no ma'am, not today, try again tomorrow, that's okay. We want to listen to our body. Great job. Let's switch sides. So the right hand comes back behind our head, left hand shoots across diagonally, and we reach over to the right side. Really try to pretend like you're reaching past your opposite knee, even though obviously you can't do that. But just that visualization kind of helps your abs engage a bit more and reach a bit farther. Great job. If you need to rest your head down in between reaches, that's great. That's a great modification. Whatever you need to do in order to stay in proper form and listen to where your body's at today. Great job. Let's do 3 more. Here's 2. Here's 1. Great job. Knees to chest. Let your lower back sink into the mat and just let your knees sway side to side. Great job. All right, we're gonna do one more little core series and then we'll switch into a prone position. So coming back into our neutral spine, pubic bone and pubic bone and hip bones are on a horizontal plane. I could put a teacup on that section of your belly and it would not spill. That's what neutral spine means metaphorically. You have a gap between your back and your mat. We're going to come into tabletop. So bring your knees to about a 90-degree angle, maintaining neutral. Your transversus abdominis is really firing. You can put your hands down at your side and we're just going to tap our toes down to our mat. These are tabletop toe taps. And keep your head rested down on the mat. Make sure that you're breathing in this position. This is a challenging one for my core today. Make sure that your knees are about an arm width away from you so they're not curling inward. That wouldn't be neutral spine. So we want to stay in neutral spine. Slowly tapping 1 foot at a time. Great job. If you want to take it up a level, let's go ahead and try to extend one leg out to the diagonal and back to tabletop. These are a little bit tough on the hip flexors, so if your hip flexors are kind of starting to pop, or it feels like all the work's coming from your hip flexors as opposed to your low abs, I would suggest just going back to tabletop toe taps, because your core might not quite be strong enough for that today. That's okay, because we're growing. These are hard for me. Great job. One more. I'll give you a little break. And then we're just going to do one more little move there. Knees to chest. Give your hip flexors a break, your abs a break, low back a break. You're doing great. Okay, we're going to come back into that tabletop position, and we're just going to do some lateral drops with it. So these are a little bit interesting if you've never done them. I want you to keep your legs at 90 degrees and really fire through your core, because we're going to drop one leg off to the side while keeping the other leg completely in the same position, and then pull it back. So this is kind of a really interesting one, and you'll just alternate sides, go at your own pace. This is a really interesting one for your low abs. It almost gets into like the lower obliques, because it's forcing you to use your abs to balance so that you're not tipping over to the side. And then it's also having to use strength to pull that knee back into the beginning position. So I love this one. I only recently started doing this one, and I really like it. Also good for hip mobility. Remember, you're in neutral spine here. Little gap between your back and the mat. Fist width between your chin and your chest. Have to remind myself to keep that still leg in the same position, so it's not also opening to try and compensate for the weight that's dropping on one side. Great job. Amazing. So good. All right, we are going to pick up our resistance bands again. We're going to, we're going to put them on our wrists like we had them in the beginning of class, and we're going to come into a prone position here. So I want your feet about mat distance apart. I really want you to think about pushing your pubic bone down into the mat. So tuck your tailbone under a little bit, and this is going to help keep your spine in alignment as we're down on our tummies here. So what I want you to do is extend your arms overhead, nice and long, with your palms facing one another. I also want you to think about your gaze being straight down at your mat. So I don't want your head to be looking up, and I don't want it completely down on the mat. I want your gaze to just be down toward the mat, so your neck is nice and long in this position. What we're going to do is lift up our arms and our shoulders, and then pulse the resistance band outward, and then come back to our starting position. We lift, pulse, and back to beginning. Lift, pulse, release, back to the beginning. These are super challenging. So if you're not able to pulse, if you're just wanting to lift up and then come back down, that's a great modification, because these are super challenging. Not only is this challenging for your shoulders, obviously, your arms, but also for your booty, also for your back, for your upper shoulders, or for your upper posture muscles in your back. These are super hard. Last one. Great job. Okay, we're going to do a little bit of single arm lat pulls in this position. So I want you to grip the resistance band with your left hand and lay it flat on the ground, so it's not hovering above the ground, flat on the ground. And what we're going to do, same posturing, so your pubic bone is still down into the mat, your gaze is still down toward the mat. What we're going to do is grip it in both hands, the resistance band, and then you're just going to pull your right hand down toward your side as you're pushing your left hand down into the ground, okay? And then we come back up and we pull and come back up. Micro bend in the straight arm. Pull the band as far as you're able to down toward your side. Great job. This is challenging. Only go as far as you feel comfortable. Pubic bone down to the mat. You're breathing. Your abs are engaged. Your gaze is down toward the mat. Amazing. Last one. And then we're going to switch. So just switch your grip a little bit, and we're just going to do the other side, same thing. So right hand gripping the band down on the mat. Left hand pulls down toward your side. and back to the beginning. Pulls. Tuck your tailbone under. This will help from the work going into your lower back. We don't want that. Pulling down. This is a great this is a great arm workout for your lats, your shoulders. You're doing super good. Just a couple more. Last one. Amazing job. Oh my goodness. Very good. One more thing. We're just going to put these on our ankles again. So, above the ankles again. Make sure it's nice and flat. And then we're going to come back into that position we were just in. And this time we are going to stack our hands on top of each other. And I do want you to rest your forehead down on your hands. Really important that you tuck your tailbone as we do this lower body work to keep the work from moving into your lumbar spine, that low spine. So really tuck the tailbone, engage the glutes. And what we're going to do as you place your forehead down on the ground, we're just going to lift our legs at the same time without bending the knee. So I want you to just practice going up and down a couple times, keeping the band taut, but you don't have to stretch it out just yet. So practice moving your legs up and down, keeping your legs pencil straight. So lock out your knees, fire through your quads. I really want you to think about not so much getting your legs as high as you can, but trying to get as much of your thigh bone off the ground as you can while keeping your legs straight. Tuck your tailbone, engage your abs. You're still breathing. Okay, so now that we've practiced going up and down a couple times, we're just going to stop at the top, pulse that band outward, and then bring it back in, bring it down. So forehead down on the mat, tuck your tailbone, we lift our legs, pulse out, in, down. We lift, pulse out, in, down. Tuck your tailbone, fire through your quads. This is a pretty intense workout. So again, if the pulse is too much for you, just go back to lifting and lowering your legs, okay? Pencil straight, lock out your knees, fire through your quads. I'll remind you again, tuck your tailbone. You're still breathing. This is super hard. Point your toes. You're doing so good. Amazing job. Let's just do 3 more. We lift, out, in, lower. Go at your own pace. You're breathing. Tuck your tailbone. Last one. You did that. You did that. That was crazy. Oh my goodness. Amazing job. We're going to grab that resistance band. Stretch out that booty. Just come back into a child's pose. Lengthen your spine. Shoot energy out through your tailbone, the crown of your head. Amazing job. Okay, we're just going to do one last burn for the shoulders, okay? We have 2 minutes left of class, and we are going to use it for the upper body, okay? So put it back on your wrist, your resistance band. And we're just going to do some frontal pulses again, but we're going to start with our elbows at 90 degrees tucked by our side. So your elbows are right by your rib cage, and we're just going to pulse the resistance band out nice and slow, keeping your palms facing one another. Just go as far as you feel comfortable. I'm just going to do a few of these. Great job. You've effectively burned out the full body today. You did some serious work on your muscles today. All right, so instead of a 90-degree angle, we're going to take our elbows out to about a 45-degree angle and just do the same thing, pulsing outward. Let your whole arm come with you as opposed to like just trying to get your wrists out. Let your whole arm move as one piece, okay? Slow, controlled movements. Abs are on. You're breathing. Amazing job. Okay, and then we're gonna end exactly how we started, having straight arms, just a little micro bend in the elbows, and we're just gonna pulse out. Amazing job. Remember that we are moving our bodies not as a way of fixing something that's wrong with them, not because we are punishing our bodies in any way. We move our bodies and we are thankful that we can, that our bodies can move in this way. Not everyone is able to move their body in a way that's joyful. So amazing job today, showing up for your body, showing up for your mind, for your mental clarity. Amazing job. Amazing. Bring it down. Oh my goodness. Amazing job. Let's just stretch out that shoulder girdle a little bit. So I want you to bring your wrist to a 90-degree angle and then just take that wrist and we're going to place it right on the side body, right below your rib cage, but above your hip bone. And then we're just going to pull that elbow forward a little bit. Keep that 90-degree angle, that super bend in your wrist, and pull that shoulder forward. And you're going to feel this in your shoulder girdle. Real nice. I love this stretch. Feels super good. It's very good for a healthy shoulder girdle, for your shoulder mobility. Long-term health is what we're going for here, not just the aesthetic, right? Okay, other side. Bend your wrist. Place that wrist below the rib cage directly on your side body and pull your shoulder or your elbow forward. Amazing job. All right, let's just do a quick figure 4 stretch too, since we did quite a bit of lower body work today. So one ankle over the other knee, and then we just kind of make sure that that knee is pressed away from us so it's not tucked in, but really it just goes for whatever you're able to do flexibility wise, and then just push your chest up toward your knee. And you're going to feel this stretch through your hamstring, through that glute. Really think about that muscle and breathe into it. Flex the foot. Great job. Okay, and then we're going to come and switch to the other side. Flex the foot. Think about that muscle. Breathe into it and see if you can deepen that stretch just a little bit. Amazing job. Well, thank you so much for joining me for class today. I can't wait to see you in the next one. And if you have any requests of classes you'd like to see, shoot me a message and I would love to create that for you. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Mwah.